morning. I finally got around to putting this together. I want to showcase one of Donnie's Cougar Call climbing stands. I feel like I've spent enough time in it now and can give a decent enough description and review. I do want to first start off by saying normally when I'm reviewing a product, I try not to do a comparison, and you know that's not my goal or my purpose is to try to say one is better than the other. However, I thought by showcasing my custom Summit a little bit, it would make maybe a little more understandable for some people that are figuring out why I made a switch to the Cougar Claw and some of the advantages of the Cougar Claw. So this right here that we're looking at is the Bubba Super Sport. It has the adjustable shooting rail climbing seat. It adjusts, sorry about that. It adjusts in place here as a shooting rail. If I want it in a shooting rail, it locks into place with a web strap, or it serves as a sit and climb, or it tucks completely away underneath your feet out of the way. This is the standard seat that comes with it. I'm sure most people are looking at this thing going, holy moly, look at it. It is something to behold. It has a pocket. It has a two-foam system. You can actually probably hear this. It's like, it's very hard for me to explain, but it's solid. And then it's topped with a foam seat. So it gives you the impression that you're sitting on a kitchen chair, like a padded kitchen chair. Super comfortable. Honest disclosure, this is usually one of the first things that go on a climbing stand for me. I'm not really, never really needed this kind of comfort to be comfortable. However, I wanted to showcase what comes with it and then a comparative with a couple different options. I did figure out a way to pack this that allows this to pack up nice and tight, and I'll show that at the end. But this is the standard seat that comes with the Bubba Super Sport. I want to take I have Jim's stabilizing straps on here. You may notice it looks slightly different. I do kind of modify Jim's straps. I just replaced the metal buckles that come with Jim straps with Alaskan Guide Series locking clips. It does require you to actually cut the metal with a pair of shears or something, but it's a little bit faster with regard to packing and unpacking, and if something's twisted on the way up, you don't have to lace and unlace anything. So I do that on all my stands. Now, before I get too much further into the this Cougar Claw, I wanted to shift over to my Summit so you can see exactly why maybe the shift was easy for me to make. So I couldn't find two trees close enough together, so I put them on the same tree. So here is my Summit. It's got several customizations, the first of which you'll see these things hanging. You're probably asking yourself, what the heck is that? No Summit has those things. Most people know the Summit has that sliding lock that kind of is folded here and slides over the cable lock to help I guess you would say the locking mechanism of the cable slide in here. You know, keep in mind that the Summits particularly require that pressure, you know, that creating a fulcrum, and then that plate is there just to help it not pop out. I don't think I'm the only person who uses a Summit who found the need to adjust. That's the primary reason I made the shift to the Cougar Claw, and we're going to get back into that. You know, too many times I found myself starting climbs, you know, with my tree stand platform angled like this to allow for the difference in the diameter from the base of the tree to wherever I settle. So by taking those platforms off and putting a spring pin system in, it allowed me to actually adjust this as I went up. Not a very smart idea. There are points when you're completely disconnected from the tree, and bad things can happen at those points. But I'd be lying if I said I didn't do it, and I'm sure there's plenty of other people who have some system very similar that allowed them to adjust. You'll also notice part of the customization to this stand is a custom sit and climb. This is a climber from an old loggy bayou back in the early 90s. I can't remember the climbing portion. I thought it was an open shot, but I'm pretty sure it is not. I think it's something like a Cobra or something. It is aluminum. It was one of the first aluminums they made, and then this is just a 5-channel aluminum platform with a foot riser on it. I've also replaced the standard seat with the Hasmore from Jim and a pad. The pad's primarily just because of all the air that gets up under here, not necessarily because I needed it for comfort, because this Hasmore is pretty darn comfortable, but I just found the bottom getting a little chilly with all the air going through it. So I got one of Jim's custom drop-down seats. It's nice on the summit. It locks underneath those angle irons. And the primary reason I got this, again, it's not because of the weight of that foam. That was nothing that was important to me. But it allows you to utilize much more of the platform of the stand. So for example, if I were climbing this, if I were going up the tree, I'd be sitting and climbing like this, obviously, going up the tree. And then when I'm sitting in my stand all day long, and the strap gets out of your way, just goes right underneath your legs. But I would primarily be in my climbers for all day sits. If I'm not on an all day sit, I'm probably in, you know, maybe one of my lock-ons and my sticks or something. But when I know I'm out all day, I'm in these for comfort. And I found it, and I hope, I can't imagine I'm the only one, that especially on an all-day sit, you want to stand and stretch. And you're always standing, you know, with the standard Summit seats, you're always standing like this far away. Or you might bunch it up a little bit, but then it's getting you in the back of the legs and gives you that sensation. I mean, I'm 2.5, 3 feet away from the base of the tree. I think that probably increases your chances of being spotted by game, as well as not really be comfortable. So the nice thing about the Hasmore is it slides completely out of the way. It allows you to lean up against a tree, you know, take your time, look around, do whatever you're doing. It gives you an opportunity to shift and stay comfortable on those longer sits. So they were the customizations to this Summit. The seat, the climber, the pins. The pins still require you, if you're trying to loosen up, like right now, if I were 15 feet or 10 feet up trying to adjust my platform, I'd be in a pretty risky situation right now. If something were to happen and I would pop, I'd run the risk of that actually popping completely out of there. Actually, in 2013, something similar happened, although I wasn't adjusting the platform purposefully, and I fell. I actually fell from this stand, and luckily I'm still here to talk about it. So now let's focus in on the reason why we're here, the Cougar call. So in the last 2 years, I found myself hunting differently. Sometimes with the crossbow. I actually rifle hunted for the first time in 2 years the other year. And while I was plenty comfortable in my Summit, you know, the idea of a shooting rail in those situations was pretty appealing. More even than that, the opportunity to adjust my stand as I'm going in a safe way. And for the record, I've tried, you know, the big two, the equalizer and the higher level, the buckhorn higher level. And without getting too much into it, I'll just leave it. I'll just say that neither one of those were as advertised for me in particular, with regard to ease of use, packability, weight, overall weight of the stand. So it just wasn't for me. I found them very cumbersome, almost to the point of, you know, hanging off to the side, trying to adjust it. I even spent the extra money for the foot wheel on the one, and it just wasn't working. So when I came across this, I figured, what can it hurt? It seemed a lot safer. So I'm going to actually take this off of this tree so that I can showcase it on the ground first. So, I guess. So I'm going to put these two side by side. There's the Cougar Claw and here's the Summit. And again, mostly just for reference, but first thing you're going to notice is the cable and the diameter in the cable. You're also going to notice there's nothing friction based on this. Again, the Summit operates under the premise of creating that pressure from the fulcrum, and that keeps that locked in. So if pressure were to move, or you know, that cable has the opportunity to slide up and down. However, when you look at the Cougar Claw cable, the pins go right through the cable themselves into the locking device that's in this cable that go all the way through. So you're going to, you know, have your one side adjusted. They have the standard spring-loaded clips, spring-loaded pins, just like I had on my Summit anyway. Again, that was a customization, but It's not like I'm uncomfortable with it. I usually lock those in place. The second is your adjustability. Now, that's not a lot of adjustability if you look in there, but it's adjustability without having to come disconnected from the tree. So that's going to slide in there. This side, I'm right-handed, so you can switch this either way you wanted to. It's up to you, but I am right-handed. So I leave the adjustability on the right-hand side, as that's the side that would be closest to my dominant hand when I'm climbing. And I drop those, you drop those pins in. So now I'm climbing, and I need to adjust it. I need to make it wider, because or actually, let's be more realistic, I need to make it shorter because the tree is shrinking in diameter. You're going to take the top pin, you're going to slide this down, and then you're going to just leapfrog it. If it's not enough, again, I'm going to take the top pin, I'm going to adjust it down, and I'm going to leapfrog it. Same, obviously the inverse would be appropriate, so I need to lengthen it. I get to my stand, my seat's a little leaning back, I want to level it out. I'm going to take the bottom one, I'm going to pull on the stand, and it's going to adjust about I guess that's about an inch. And I'm going to put that in. Now obviously, you have to take the weight off the climber. You don't want to be sitting on the bar resting on the climber, because these pins will get real hard to pull in and pull out. And the same happens for the platform. And again, because I'm right-handed, I have the platform set up. All right, now that I was able to show you how those cables worked and the differences between the Summit cable and the Cougar Call cable, I'm going to go ahead and climb. But before I do that, I just want to go over a couple of real quick things here. This is the factory seat. And again, with the factory seat, the climbing bar on the Bubba Super Sport, the pad, the hardware and everything, backpack straps, the whole 9 yards. I did change out the backpack straps that came with the stand in favor of a pair of Lone Wolf backpack straps, but everything here's safety belt, pull-up rope, third man hand stabilizing straps, custom seat, bar, bubble, everything. It was 22 pounds 22 pounds 10 ounces. My Summit, the Summit custom I showed you was 20 pounds 8 ounces. So there is a difference. It's a little heavier here, but there are seat options available. There's the slumper seat if you don't like the padding. There's also this seat. I believe I got this at higher level, but I can't really remember. Buckhorn Outdoors. It's a great seat. It's flat. There's no padding in it. But again, you know, this is usually something the first that goes for me. And then also, if the bar is not important for you, Donnie obviously offers other models without the bar, but if you want the versatility to have the bar or not, this is a good model to go with, because again, it comes off and on with just a couple bolts. And if it's not really your thing for the sit and climb part of it, he also offers a seat that is very much like the custom one I had on my Summit that I showcased earlier, and you just replace the bar with the seat. There's some adjustability here, so you can adjust it to the length that you like to climb. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and climb this with this a little bit. I'm only going to go up so high because I don't have my safety belt, and we picked a hill, so hopefully Laurie can stand over here and showcase it. But before I climb, I just want to point out, you're going to want to make sure you start with your footrest out. So I'm just going to hop right up in here and climb a little bit so you can see. You'll notice, kind of, it's just a habit of mine, I always pull my left foot out and kind of get some back pressure on there like that. So you can see I've only gone up 2 or 1.5 really, and you can already see the extreme angle here in both the seat and the platform. So, and again, I have the factory seat on here, and I'm only mentioning that for a third time for a reason you'll see in a minute. So the first thing I want to do is make sure I adjust my seat. I'm just going to take it down, I'm going to lean into the tree, and because I want it to get smaller, I'm taking out the top pin and pushing the cable in. I'm replacing the top pin. Check it. Still too forward. I'm going to take the top pin, push the cable in, replace it in the bottom. So it's basically like playing a little game of leapfrog. For me, I would actually do that one more time. take the top pin, slide it in, and drop it in there. Now it's actually tilted up a little bit. I would probably, if I were hunting right now, I'd probably go ahead and lock that in because I don't think I'm going to need to adjust this again, but I could be wrong. Now, how do I adjust the platform? I'm in this seat incline mode. You can do it. You can sit on the rail, struggle to reach down between here, but I found that the best, most safe, and fast way, and again, it really doesn't matter what seat you have on it, but if you have the factory seat, you do have to lower it a little bit more because of the size here. So what you're going to do now, you're all set, your platform is where it needs to be, you're going to just lower this down a little bit. Quick, just turn around and sit. And then what I do is my heels under here, and then I just pull it up into pull it right up like that. I'm safe, I'm sitting, and you're going to do the same thing. You're going to leapfrog backwards. Now you're going to do it one at a time to stay safe. I guess if you start to get super aggressive about it, you can probably slide it, but that would be no different than what we were doing with the Summit. So I just did 2 adjustments, and it's level, but I know I still have, 18 feet more, 15 feet more to go, so I'm probably going to do it one more time here. And I'm probably going to go ahead and lock that pin as well. Now I'm ready to go. Resume my climb. You hear that little bit of squeak that's in the bolts here. It has nothing to do with any of the wells or anything like that, in case you're hearing it, wondering what that sound is. I get to my spot, I fix my seat, I unclip my strap. Down, tuck the rail underneath my feet, and I'm hunting. I got this is a super incredible, comfortable setup. I'm not sure if I'm going to keep all of the padding on it or not. I tend to like the the flat seat a little bit more, but this is just way comfortable, super adjustable. It sits up high. You're not down with the bar in between you. And then here's the how that bar doubles. If I'm hunting with a crossbow or I'm hunting with a rifle, all I do is I'm going to pull this bar up into place. There's an adjustable strap right here. I'm going to put it to wherever I need it, and I'm going to just adjust this. I'm going to lock it down into place. So if I like it there. If I want it tighter, if I want it higher, if I want it lean lower, you adjust it however you want. Right here with a pretty adjustable strap. Again, it's one of those situations where I kind of was joking with my wife. I think about when the kids were little and that was that baby Einstein. Some woman put colors to Mozart music and sold it to Disney for millions of dollars. There's nothing super groundbreaking about Donnie's ideas. They're very logical, they're very well engineered. I doubt any of us that have owned Summits or Lone Wolves or any other company tree stand calls customer service and actually speaks to the person who maybe even built the stand or tested the stand that you're in. So that's the climb. I'm going to go ahead and come down, and then I'm going to show you how I pack it up real quick. Okay, I have everything down on the ground now, well, at least with regard to the Cougar claw, and I wanted to make sure I followed up to try to do, to be equitable. And I wanted to also point out one of the distinct differences of the Cougar claw is its teeth system as compared to, say, the Summit. So yeah, I'm looking at the platform versus a climber, but the teeth are the same. You could see that the way that they're angled, they tend, the Summit, I'm sorry, the Cougar Claw really tends to grab the tree nicely. You could see this has hardly got any marks on it, even after all of the use that it's been through. It's got a nice channel here. It's stiff. All the welds, you can see Donnie's welding is pretty, there's nothing subpar about it because it's not a major manufactured company. The other thing I wanted to point out is when I was talking about my Summit and switching over to the Hasmore seat, I pointed out, I made the comment that if Jim Hasmore was to come out with a seat for the Cougar Claw, I'd probably invest in it. But I mentioned in that conversation the difference. So you can see here how on the Cougar Claw, that angle beam for the cable kind of comes in mid-seat. So the advantage, if you recall, the reason why I explained the Hasmore was because it allowed me to slide it out of the way to take advantage of more of the platform. Keep in mind this platform is about 1.5 inches bigger without the footrest, about 3.5 inches bigger with the footrest. But both of these seats, the factory seat that comes with it has a 2-strap system. You can unclip that first strap and the whole thing flips up out of the way. Very much like the foam seat on top of the Hasmore. Flips up like this. So you can reach underneath and clip this, or if you went with one of the other seats, the Slumper. I can't say for sure about the Slumper because I haven't had it in my hand, but I think it's available. And this seat's got 3 straps. You put 1 strap in front, 2 behind, and same thing. You unclip the front strap and the whole thing slides up out of the way. So I wanted to try to be as close as apples to apples as I could. Now, I do want to go over packing this up because it was a little frustrating for me the first few times, and so I figured out a pretty simple trick is like the Summits, the platform nests inside the climber. Now, how the heck are you supposed to nest that inside there with this here? Some of the videos I've seen that other people have done, they take the seat off, and that is not anything I want to do. I do not want to have one more thing to carry in the woods. So basically, I just figured, necessity is the mother of invention, I guess. So I just kind of was messing around and I figured something out. If you just take the back and drop it through, so now it's underneath, and some people might say, well, what kind of difference can that possibly make? I'll show you in a moment. It has the bungee that comes with it. Here's the bag. My pull-up rope is in the bag. My pull-up rope stays attached to the stand all the time, and I just tuck it in the bag. I pull it here. I'm going to attach this there. Now, when I lift this up, that whole thing drops out of the way. It's dropping out of the back. So not only is this out of the way for packability, but this provides an excellent lumbar support when you're carrying the stand through the woods. So all I'm going to do now is take my stand, take my climber. I'm going to take the stand part of it now, and I do, when I'm packing my stands, I adjust the cables all the way in. I do the same on all my climbers. I'm going to, scratch this stuff here. So I'll take this, I'll stand it up. You want to leave the climbing bar up. You'll see that that's almost flat. You're going to take your platform, straps and all, and you're just going to drop it right in there. So it drops right in there nice and tightly. There, Donnie includes a strap that's built into the stand. I actually slid it all the way back here by accident, but it's attached to the stand. It comes with it. You don't have to do anything for it. Comes across. Donnie, it includes a buckle on the other side, which I also accidentally slid all the way back here when I was taking the seat on and off to show you guys. So just going to adjust that. So that comes across. Go ahead, snap that in. I just literally squeeze it with my hands and then lock that down. It's pretty cool. You probably noticed as we were doing this, we turned the camera off and then pieced it back in. We were sitting here doing this and two doe walked up on us as we were doing this. So now I have third hand man stabilizer straps. All I do is take them under both. So you see it goes under the platform and the climber. And again, like I said, the one difference here that you might not be used to is I just replaced the metal clips with Alaskan Guide Creations locking clips. They are top notch. So I go ahead and clip that there. Pull that tight. Again, coming over top of both, trying to come around that clip. Then I do the same thing with all the extra. I take my right down to the left, tie a quick double overhand knot. Do the same on the other side. The nice thing about tying with these straps, you could do it with gloves on when it's cold. And then I have a chamber for my pack, anything else I want to carry. This is what I was telling you. Now I have all of this support in my lower back, which is not something that you get pretty much on any other tree stand when you're carrying it. I mentioned I replaced the shoulder straps that came with it with a pair of Lone Wolf straps. And you're off. So that would be the Cougar Claw Bubba Super Sport. Probably not going to be much editing involved, so however it turned out, it turned out. I hope I was able to explain some of the differences between, the Summit that I have, all the changes and modifications I made to that Summit, explain sort of the rationale how I ended up with this, and then showcase the differences. I mean, clearly it is clearly safer to hunt, and if you have to adjust with this. This stand, I believe, is quieter. It's about as easy to pack. The Summit is a little lighter, but again, if I were to, on this Cougar Claw, if I were to drop the shooting rail, the hardware with the shooting rail, the pad with the shooting rail, drop the standard seat that came with it and replace it with something very similar to the Hasmore, I did all that in the basement, and like I said, the Summit was at 20.9, and I think this one was 21.2. As close as I could be. So the weight was negligible, but the ability for me not to have to start those climbs, like I said before, like some of the trees, especially upstate where I hunt, I end up sometimes starting with my platform like this, and that can be a little bit of a pain. So. Again, if you have any questions, just post them here on the thread for maybe other people can answer them who have one, or if you have anything very specific to something I did or said, feel free to send me a private message. Thanks, guys.